video, we're talking about how to trace off your measurements, your closest measurement into, the PDF pattern. The PDF pattern has got, everything is like all graded. So when you open up the pattern, you see the entire graded pack and you go, oh my gosh, there's so many grade lines. I don't know where to trace off, how to cut it. I don't want to destroy my master pattern. So you work out what your measurements are. Once you know what measurements you fall with inside the pattern. You say, I'm maybe size 8 or a 10. And you start tracing off your size 8 and 10, so you've got your own little mock-up pattern that you can use on your fabric without even cutting up your master PDF pattern. Well, I hope this is going to help you to make your sewing so much more fun, and also to keep your patterns in case you are actually sewing for clients and you want to use your pattern for different sizes as well, and always just trace off what they need. So this is Tania Sutherland. I hope that you enjoyed what I'm sharing with you. Let's continue. I've printed out the PDF pattern for yourself, and it's got all these different graded lines in the actual pattern. And you don't want to cut up your pattern because you might want to use it for to make clothes for other members of the family, or perhaps you are actually making for clients as a business. So you can do is basically just trace off the size that you are. So let me show you how you do it. But firstly, you'll need a couple of things. So you'll probably need a paper, scissor, some kind of tracing wheel. You get different types of tracing wheels. You get ones that are quite spiky. This one's not very spiky at all because I'm just going to be going through using carbon paper, a ruler, a French curve, and some carbon paper. This is typewriter carbon paper that I use. I get it from the stationery shop. Right, then you look at the measurement chart and you look at your measurements, and then you see which one you are the closest to. So in my case, I'm size 8 to 10 in my PDF pattern. So I'm basically now going to be tracing that off. You need some paper to trace off your pattern. So I've got this paper that I use in my classroom, where I teach my students to trace all patterns from commercial patterns. Look at my size. I'm size between an 8 and a 10. So I'm looking at what the 8 and 10 line looks like. And in my case, it's like a straight line with two little stripes around it. I'll just take some carbon paper. I'll put it underneath my pattern. Now I need to put some weights down so my pattern's not going to shift. And then my tracing lines at the bottom is not going to shift as well. So this is just a small pattern. This is my pattern called Jordana, it's a little hoodie pattern. So it's a very small, easy pattern to give you an example of how to do this. Alright, so I'm just going to place 4 sheets of carbon paper underneath the pattern. It's a very small pattern. I'm going to 2 weights down, just to keep the pattern from shifting. Alright, as you can see now, there's all the sticky tape, or the actual tape where I've joined all the pattern piece together, following all the little crosses and the notches. There are the 3 different tracing wheels. You can get lots spikier ones as well, which is more for the hardboard that you use when you do pattern making. I'm just going to go ahead and use this very soft one. A ruler or my French curve, and look at my 8 to 10, which there the line is, and I'm going to follow along that line. And if I lift up the pattern and look at the bottom, I can see my tracing coming through. Alright, so now I'm just going to trace the rest of the garment. You would do the same on commercial patterns. This is today we're discussing the PDF. Now you are taking your basic measurement and you are tracing off what you know your measurements are into the pattern. It is always a good idea to make up your garment, and as you're busy making it up, to try it on. And as you're busy putting the garment together, try it on, take it in, let it out, make your necessary adjustments, and then once you've done that, you go back to your pattern and you make the adjustments on your pattern, and you make some notes on your pattern, the adjustments that you made. Okay, so now I can take away my main pattern. And always transfer all the information from your pattern, from your master pattern, onto your traced off pattern. So now this is my back. So I'm going to write here back. And it says cut material on fold. So I will write here fold 1 times fabric. Now if I didn't curve my necklines properly, you can always just take your French curve and just sort of connect all the dots. If by any chance you didn't trace off the lines right through. So now I know that I have done my back. Now you can go ahead and trace off all the other pattern parts following your size measurement. So you can go ahead and cut out your trace pattern, and once you've finished all the patterns, you've now done this, and then you can go ahead and lay it on your fabric and actually cut out your garment. Just remember, do you like what I've just shared with you? How about giving me some love and share and subscribe? I'd really appreciate it. This is Tania Sutherland. Remember, a tip that you must definitely try on and make adjustments as you gain along. But the first most important thing is, before you even print out your PDF pattern, always do your test page to make sure that you got your test page accuracy. With any of the PDF patterns, it's going to tell you page 1. First, just test the first page. Make sure that your block, or that centimeter block that they've got, or inch block, that when you print out the first page, take your tape measure and make sure that your accuracy little test block is accurate to the measurements that the pattern is telling you to be. Otherwise, the pattern can either be off scale, it can be too small or too big. So always make sure you do accuracy test. And another thing is, like I said, always, as you're busy making your garment, try it on and make all the necessary adjustments, because patterns don't fit perfectly right off the cuff. You obviously need to adjust them according to your body proportions and your body shapes. Well, I hope that this has given you a better idea how to trace off your size in a PDF pattern. The same principle will apply for commercial patterns as well, by tracing off in this method. In designing for yourself, or whether you're turning it into a business or just having absolute fun tracing off your PDF patterns and making yourself your own designer wardrobe.